seem overwhelming to shop for a bank. There are so many options in the market, from large traditional banks to regional banks to credit unions to online-only banks. So if you're shopping for a new bank, what kind of features and services should you look for? Here are some tips on how to shop for a new bank, even if you're happy with your current bank. Let's take a step back and talk about the best ways to search for a bank that works for you. The number one thing you're going to want to do is comparison shop based on different features and services that you're going to want. Say, for example, you live in a rural area that doesn't have a lot of access to branches or ATMs. Perhaps you're going to want to search for banks that have the best ATM fee reimbursement policies. Beyond that, you might want to look for things like low or no monthly fees, high interest rates, strong overdraft policies, or customer service that works best for you and your lifestyle. Maybe you're fine with online customer service, or maybe you need face-to-face branches. Either way, you're going to want to search and Google around for the kind of banks that work best for you based on those kinds of keywords. Interest rates are one of the buzziest things happening in the banking industry right now. Early in 2022, a lot of great interest rates were only topping out at about 0.5%, which was not stellar, but not the worst. Now, fast forward to later in 2022, the Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates, which means that deposit accounts like checking, savings, and certificates of deposit have been going up quite a bit. And there are a number of banks that are actually offering 2% or higher on its different accounts. After interest rates, the next big thing you should consider when shopping for a bank is what kind of fees the bank charges. The main fees you're going to want to consider are monthly fees, minimum balance requirement fees, and overdraft fees. Ideally, your bank doesn't charge a monthly fee. However, there are some really good banks that still do charge a monthly fee of $10 or less, and typically they give you a way to waive that fee, usually by direct depositing a certain amount every month or by spending a certain amount on your debit card. Beyond that, banks might charge a minimum balance requirement fee. This basically means that if your balance drops below a certain amount, your bank is going to start charging a fee. Now, ideally, you're going to go with a bank that doesn't require that because it can be kind of hard to hit those numbers sometimes. Beyond that, an overdraft fee is something that you're going to want to pay really close attention to. Even if you don't plan on overdrafting, those fees can get really expensive in case you accidentally do. Most banks allow you to opt out of overdraft fees altogether, and they just decline the transaction that would result in an overdraft. However, if you do choose to have your overdraft services turned on, there are some banks out there that are making it way less expensive to overdraft than they used to. The average overdraft fee is still typically in the range of $30 to $35 per occurrence, and some banks can charge this fee multiple times a day. However, there are banks that are reducing or eliminating their overdraft fees altogether, making it much less expensive to overdraft. Beyond that, there are some banks that are even going above and beyond and creating basically a free line of credit for you to keep spending beyond your account limits. Basically, you can end up spending $50 or more, and the bank won't charge you a fee. Instead, what they'll do is they'll require you to replenish your account at your next available opportunity. By doing this, you're basically being given a small free line of credit, which helps you cover the cost of certain expenses, but get your money back on track in a short period of time. If you want to get really nerdy while searching for a new bank account, something you can do is look into a bank's terms and conditions for its fee schedule. Usually fees will be listed blatantly on a website, but the fee schedule is kind of a little hidden legal document that tells you everything you're going to be on the hook for when it comes to fees for your account. Beyond high interest rates and low or no fees, the next thing you're going to want to look for when shopping for a bank is access to customer service. Banking flubs happen to all of us. Maybe your account freezes up. Maybe there's an issue with fraud happening with your account. Maybe your debit card is lost. All of these things can be stressful, and you're going to want to make sure that you're working with a bank that works best for you. Let's say you're somebody who really likes dealing with things on their mobile phone. In that case, you're going to want to make sure your bank has an online chat available at hours that work best for you. Maybe you're really good with social media and you'd rather chat with your bank over Twitter. Plenty of banks offer services like that. Beyond that, let's say you're somebody who really values face-to-face customer service. You're going to want to make sure that there are plenty of branches available to you in your area. Even beyond these kinds of questions, you might want to deposit or withdraw cash on a regular basis. In that case, you're going to want to make sure that you have access to an ATM network that's near you, and that ideally is free. A lot of banks have their own network of ATMs, which make them very accessible even when you're traveling. But for banks that don't have their own ATM networks, they might do things like join a shared ATM network, or they might offer ATM reimbursements, which means that they either do up to a certain amount of reimbursements per month when you charged an ATM fee, or sometimes banks even offer unlimited ATM fee reimbursements. These are the kinds of things you're going to want to search for when you're doing your comparison shopping. Apart from customer service access, you're going to want to look for banks that offer the kinds of accounts that you're looking for. Lots of banks can offer a wide range of products, from checking, savings, and certificates of deposit, all the way up to mortgages, loans, and credit cards. So when you're considering all these different options, you're going to want to think about what kind of bank is going to work best for you. Large traditional banks tend to offer more products and services, but that might come at a cost of lower interest rates or more fees. Beyond that, you might look for smaller banks like regional banks, credit unions, online-only banks, or neobanks. Those offerings tend to have fewer products available, but those few products are going to be more customized to your needs and tend to have higher interest rates, simply because they have less overhead that large traditional banks tend to have. The last thing you're going to want to look at for shopping for a bank are the special features and perks that different banks offer. For example, maybe your bank offers 2-day early direct deposit. Maybe it offers a budgeting tool in its app, which makes it easy to see what your spending is in each spending category. Beyond that, maybe there are some really great savings tools, like being able to round up the change of what you're spending with your debit card and putting it into your savings account. Some banks also offer sub-accounts, which allows you to break up your main savings account into smaller accounts that match your different financial goals. So let's say your current bank account isn't offering the best interest rate or has started charging you new fees that you don't want to pay anymore. The process of switching to a new bank is actually fairly simple. First of all, you're just going to go onto your new bank account's website and look at the process for opening a new account. Usually this is quite straightforward, and you just have to enter some personal information as well as maybe a routing number and account number from your old bank so that you can seamlessly switch those funds over from your old account into your new one. After that, go back to your old account and make a list of all of the recurring payments that come out of that account. You're going to want to go back months, if not even a year, to make sure that you're getting all of those subscriptions, bill payments, and utilities that are coming out of your account. Once you have that list, go into your new account and make sure that all of those payments are coming out of your new account number and routing number. After you've done that, it can be pretty simple to close your old account. Just contact customer service for your old bank and ask them to take care of that for you. However, opening a new bank account doesn't necessarily mean you need to close your old account. Maybe there's something about it that still benefits you. Like, maybe you're looking for a new checking account that offers better interest, but it turns out your old savings account is still pretty strong and you want to keep some savings in there. Usually there isn't much problem with keeping an old account open, but you're going to want to make sure that you aren't incurring any additional fees, such as an inactivity fee that comes from not using that account over a period of months. Or you could even be struck with a minimum balance requirement fee, which means that if you drop below a certain balance, your bank might start charging you fees. So as long as these two things aren't happening, there really isn't any downside to keeping an old account open, except that it can be a little bit harder to keep track of from an organizational perspective. Once you've narrowed down the kind of bank you want to look for, the next step is to be really strategic about the kind of comparison shopping that you do. If you go onto Google, it's pretty easy to search for key terms that work around the kind of bank services that you're looking for. So let's say you're based somewhere like Kansas, and you want to look for a bank that's regional to the area. Searching best banks in Kansas can usually come up with some results that are going to work best for you and your area. Beyond that, you might look for search terms like most eco-friendly bank or banks with best high-yield online savings. These kinds of specific keywords help narrow down your search. On sites like NerdWallet, we have a number of roundups that cater to these special kinds of features, and we also have a quiz that allows you to search for the kind of bank that works best for you. Even if you're happy with your current bank, the industry has been changing so much this year that it makes sense to shop around anyway, just at least to compare what you're getting versus what you could be getting. There are banks out there that are increasing their interest rates on nearly a daily basis, or they're lowering or eliminating different fees that may be causing you a headache with your current bank. Or maybe you'll comparison shop and realize that you're actually really happy with your current bank and that the longevity of being a customer with it actually works best for you. No matter the reasoning, you should shop around for different banks just to make sure that you're getting the most for your money and that your financial goals are being met in the best way. I'm Chanel Bissett, and I'm a banking writer at NerdWallet. Remember that quiz I mentioned a few minutes ago? If you Google NerdWallet, how to choose a bank, you're going to find that page and the quiz that allows you to see what kind of bank could work best for you. If you feel like you learned something from this video, like and subscribe.